All right, we're back live with you tonight here on In Focus, and thank you for staying on. An opposition member of the Lesotho Parliament wants to declare the Free State and parts of 4 other provinces their territory. Lawmakers in neighboring Lesotho are discussing whether the Mountain Kingdom should seek to reclaim large swaths of land. According to the lawmakers, the disputed provinces were historically inhabited by the Basothos. For more on this, we're joined now by Africa analyst Isaac Khomo. Good to have you, Tate, and thank you very much for your time. From what I am seeing here, this arises from a 1962 United Nations General Assembly declaration. Is there merit to the claim and demand that is being made by the Basotho Convention movement?
Well, the demand is being made by the Basotho people in Lesotho, and that actually sort of comes from the opposition leader. And that you find that this issue has been there among the Basothos for a long time. And taking into account that right now in South Africa, in the Republic, we have groups, national groups, which are actually claiming land. We have the folks of KZN or KwaZulu claiming land right into Freystad. So I think the time is there to see that they also got land claims within the Republic. So I think that is actually driven to these people actually coming with this claim. And again, it should be understood that Lesotho basically is an artificial nation. I'm not a nation, it's an artificial country, sorry, I made a mistake. Whereby basically as a country it is not viable economically. And they need land to actually spread out. Yeah. And not only that, we've got Basothos in South Africa too.
Yeah. So talk to me about these disputed provinces or territories of Basotho land. What is the situation? How did this actually come about?
Well, it came about with colonialism, settler colonialism. I mean to say that this goes back to the time before the track. But around the 1840s, the Afrikaners, the Boers, they actually moved into lands of what they call today Freystad. But those lands were lands of the Basothos. The Basothos were there, the San were there, the Khoi were there. And that actually came up with the dispossession of the people. The British came up and actually sort of did help the Boers. They fought the Basothos, and they forced a lot of unfair treaties with the Basothos, where Basothos ceded the sovereignty over those lands to the British. And with time, the Afrikaners came and took it over. That is what it is. It's like that throughout the country which we know as South Africa. It's land where people are dispossessed.
And is the South Africa of today willing to give back close to 210,000 square kilometers of land from what I'm seeing Mr. Dipulo is talking about? It says Lesotho would grow from 30,000 square kilometers to around 240,000 square kilometers. What's the appetite in the current South African dispensation to do that?
It is a very tough thing for Basothos to come and claim the land from Lesotho. But Basothos can claim the land from South Africa. We've got over 3 to 5 million Basothos. And although these ones here do not directly fall under the Basotho kings, but they are Basothos. And it's up to them to lay claims to the land. But within Lesotho, there have been talks for a long time, saying that Lesotho is not a viable state as it is, and not a viable nation state. And the solution to the whole thing was that Lesotho should actually join South Africa. That's an option. There are many options on the table. An option whereby the South African nation can actually give the land to Lesotho. That is very tough because basically it's actually sort of, it will create problems. But the fact that Lesotho can join South Africa, and in that situation, as South Africans, they can actually claim the land. And that land is needed. Lesotho, I've been to Lesotho. The land is really it's harsh. And there's not much work, there's not much agricultural land. That's why we find Basothos rushing to South Africa. And they're doing menial jobs, and they are very, very marginalized. Most of the guys who are doing this recycling business, it's Basotho boys. Yeah. They're doing that because they've got no work, and some of them have actually been to school, and they're very well educated. But they're collecting rubbish, plastics in people's cases. That's the reality of Lesotho. So basically, something needs to be done.
So we saw a little bit earlier in the year, I think around the 4th or so of March this year, Minister Bheki Cele leading a high-level police delegation to Maseru in Lesotho to have some kind of bilateral security discussions. I mean, in a sense, saying there is this healthy kind of relationship between the two countries and a willingness to want to cooperate. Do you think something like this that is being raised by the opposition MP could raise tensions between the two countries?
No, it does not raise tensions. I mean, the situation of the Minister of Police going to Lesotho is actually to go and look at the security and law and order. I mean, Basothos are flowing here, and they're actually sort of so-called involved in crime. The Zamazamas, many of them are Basothos. Yeah. But then the thing is this, that there's not much of a healthy situation. Okay, there's a healthy situation between the two states, between the governments. But the issue is with the people. The people of Lesotho is in dire straits. That country cannot actually support the people. The economy is not big enough, and the agriculture is not big enough. And therefore, the people have got to overflow into Lesotho, into South Africa. But when they come here, they are foreigners. Yet these are lands which used to belong to them. And it's not only Freestad. There are lands of Mount Fletcher, which they claim, and also of Hershey. There are Basothos there. And even there's a Sotho king, the chief of Mount Fletcher. He's a Mushwashwe. He's Mushwashwe's descendant. So you find that they've got this very big problem there, not with the government, but with the people and the people's livelihood. Something has got to be done, and something has got to change. And people have got to sit down with sober minds and see how that can be solved. But Basothos, basically, they've got to overflow. They've got to overflow in Freestad. Yeah. That land of Freestad is land which Basothos had. Yeah. And if you go back to writings of Saul Plaatje, when Saul Plaatje was talking about the 1913 Land Act, he said that the Union of South Africa wants to turn South Africa into what they did in Freestad, in the total dispossession of the people there. And the people of Basothos, they were totally dispossessed.
So what do you think is likely to happen in the debate? I mean, they're going to have the debate, I think, tomorrow, and this issue is going to be raised by the opposition. Do you think there will be any concrete resolution coming out of the motion that is raised by the opposition?
Well, there will not be a concrete resolution as I can see, but actually it will set what I see, which is much more telling, is this that will start Basothos actually, it will put the whole issue on the public sector, on the public sphere, where the thing is going to be debated. But as far as Parliament is concerned, I don't know if the opposition has got a majority to pass that thing there. But even if it passes it, what can they do? Lesotho is weak. They can just continue as what they are doing now, to just lay claims to this area. But the thing is this, that the Basothos themselves have got to come and start debating about their future. How do they see themselves? And the only way out, and many people say so, the Basothos say so, is that they should actually unite with South Africa. And from that situation, that's when they can actually demand their lands or claim their lands. And some of the lands have been claimed by KZN. Yeah, KZN is claiming land into Freestad. Some of that land was actually belonged to Skonyel. Batopa, and other lands which belongs to the Ngwane kings, but have been claimed by other people.
Right.
Because those chieftains, those royalties are not there.
All right. Dr. Khomo, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming. Dr. Khomo, Isaac Khomo, he's an African analyst there, helping us get a handle of that particular situation that is being raised by the opposition in Basotho, in Lesotho, around the claims that they say is at least the whole of the Free State and 4 other parts of these South African provinces that are in dispute here.